Hello, this is Riley Goodman's book project. The book is called The Mist by Stephen King. This book is fiction and was published in 1980. It starts off one day in Bridgeton, Maine. One evening, the town is hit by a huge thunderstorm. A little bit after the storm, David Drayton sees a line of mist over the lake by the Drayton's house. David notices it's not a normal mist because something like that doesn't happen after a storm like that one. Despite that, he assumes it's nothing. After the storm, David needs to go to the store to get supplies to repair some damage. Billy, his son, wants to go too. Then David's neighbor comes over and he also needs to go. Stephanie, David's wife, stays back to start the cleanup. When they get to the store, they get their stuff and go to the checkout line. Then out of nowhere a man comes in screaming, "There's something in the mist," and it took John Lee. A few moments after, a loud siren goes off. Everybody panics and started screaming. One person goes out of the store and suddenly starts screaming and is never seen again. A bit later, David, Norm the bag boy, Byron, Jim, and Ollie go into the storage area where the backup generator is. Something's blocking the exhaust, so Norm opens the electric door and out of nowhere through the mist, tentacles with spikes come in and start grabbing Norm. David and Ollie try grabbing Norm but are not strong enough. The tentacles squeeze him to death and then pull what's left of him back into the mist. Later, David and Ollie try to explain to everyone what happened to Norm. No one believed them. They were able to show them a piece of the tentacle that was left over from the fight in the storage area. That night, one of the men noticed that there's a bug the size of a lantern on the window. All of a sudden, there were hundreds all over the windows. Then from the mist, a huge pterodactyl-looking animal comes and eats one of the bugs. Then more come and do the same thing. Then suddenly one of them broke the window. One of the monster birds jumps on Tom Smalley's back and starts ripping him apart. Fortunately, David and the others had prepared for the night and made torches out of mop handles and had poured oil on them. At this point, they lit them up. David set the monster bird on fire. The next morning, Miss Carmody, a woman with a high religious conviction, believes that this is God's wrath on earth for all the bad things people have done. She is slowly getting more people to follow her because they are in state of shock and need something to believe in. David realizes they need medicine for some of the injured. So him, Ollie, Mike Hatlin, Jim Grondian, Buddy Eagleton, Dan Miller, and Mrs. Rippler go next door to a pharmacy to see if there's survivors and get medicine. On their way there, Jim was randomly attacked by what looks like a crab and scorpion mixed together. Instead, when they got there, the place was full of webs. Spiders come out and start trying to hurt them. It sprays a web made of acid on Buddy and he eventually bleeds out. Ollie with his .38 caliber tries to shoot the monstrous spiders. One of the spiders comes behind Mike and sprays him in the neck with the acid webs. It burns straight through his neck and immediately kills him. David, with an axe he brought over, hits the spiders. Dan tries to stay away from the spiders and is overrun and backups into one of the webs, killing him. David, Mrs. Rippler, and Ollie are trapped in the pharmacy. Mrs. Rippler takes out a can of rage she brought over and lights the liquid and she sprays them. Quickly, they run out and go back to store. Everybody is shocked they made it back. Miss Carmody, when they come back now, has a group of 30 people. She's convincing people to make a sacrifice. David is scared that she's going to convince them to try and take Billy or someone else that doesn't agree with her. So David forms a group with Amanda, Billy, Ollie, Hattie, Mrs. Rippler, and Mr. Cornell form a strategy to leave the store. When they attempt to leave, Miss Carmody and her group tries to stop them. She tells them to take Amanda and Billy and kill them as a sacrifice. A fight breaks out, but Ollie pulls out the gun and shoots Miss Carmody in the stomach. When Ollie did that, everyone backed off and let them leave the store. When Ollie got to the car, he opened two of the doors but was killed by a huge scorpion that cuts him in half. On the way to the car, the spiders kill Mr. Cornell and Hattie. The four of them quickly get in the car and drive away. When driving, they see this ginormous monster with 6 legs. The monster had footprints the size of an SUV. They also hear on the radio through the static the word Hartford. When Billy woke up from his nap, he asks his father if they saw Mommy. David says that there was a tree in their way so they couldn't. Stephanie's fate is unknown. After driving for a while, David runs out of gas. They go to sleep for a while. Billy is still sleeping. David whispers in his ear Hartford and Hope. Then it ends as a cliffhanger.